clinical trials are generally designed towards improving on standard therapy. So, people have, I think, sometimes misconceptions that they might not get anything that works. But in breast cancer in particular, where we have a lot of treatments that work, the trials are generally designed in the sort of this framework, which is we know that this treatment works this well. How can we improve upon it? And so will it work better? And what are the additional side effects?
The clinical trial usually is an information that's given at the time of the first meeting for surgery. So when I meet with a patient in the clinic, I specifically talk to them about what we're going to do to individualize their therapy. And I think that's the essence of what this therapy trial is about, individualizing treatment.
Entering into a clinical trial often allows a patient with one more option. So if you figure you have a certain number of options available to you, having one more option achieves two goals. So one is you have one more chance of an effective treatment. And the second is that sometimes we hit a home run. Sometimes a treatment works really, really well and better than anything else that we have available. So the downside for the patient usually is the time involved in participating in a clinical trial. In other words, if you participate in a trial, you generally are going to spend a little more time in your treatment than if you were doing standard therapy without a trial. But on the other hand, you might get more effective therapy. You certainly have more knowledge about what's going on with the treatment. And often you have a little bit closer follow-up because of the nature of the tests involved with a clinical trial.
So when we meet with a patient, we talk about the types of therapy that they could undergo. If there's a clinical trial that's available to them at that time, we'll discuss the clinical trial. We'll give them some information. They can think about this clinical trial, and then they get back to us and we decide whether or not they would like to become a candidate or enroll in this clinical trial. Once that has taken place, we enroll them in the clinical trial and then identify what their treatment would be from that point on.
The old paradigm, just try new things one after another, we're trying to get away from and really try and direct it to the specific tumor biology so that the women in the future will even have better outcomes. But if you're a woman now, you say, well, why am I doing something for somebody else in the future? I want to do the best I can. Well, actually, these trials will result in better treatments for the women today as well.